In this video, I talk to you about how to break through the glass or any other ceiling that might be holding you back. Great tips from a Harvard professor that I saw that was marvelous in speaking, and tips from Tim Ferriss's book on tools of Titan. A lot packed into this live Facebook video, and you want to join us. This as well, and the recording is on. It's doing just fine, and we're recording this and going out to Facebook Live as well as recording it for others. But I wanted to share a few things with you that I thought were really good. And before we do that, I'm checking again over here. This is live video, so we go over here and we're checking on a monitor. Got another computer over here beside me, and it looks like it is working. So that's a good thing. By the way, if you're watching this and thinking, well, how come Terry would have problems? He's the tech guy. I'll let you in on a little secret here. We tech guys that work with tech have lots of problems. We just keep going at it, though. You know, you knock us down and we get back up. What is it the Japanese say? Something like, knock down 9 times, rise up 10 times, or something like that. And I know that's a terrible Japanese accent. It just blows it away. So I'm sorry, but how do you say, please forgive me? Sumasen in Japanese means forgive me, excuse me. So anyway, this is going to be a good learning experience. And I really got some things I want to share with you. I had a conversation early this morning to a friend. She was calling, just a delightful, wonderful person. And she was telling me about some of the things she's doing, some really good advances she's making in her career, in her speech, and putting it together, and how she's putting together some speeches to help women to break through the glass ceiling, you know, that you can only go so far and you can't go above that. And I was telling her the way you do that is you just go far beyond it no matter what is happening. And I was reminded of David Oyelowo, am I saying that right? The actor from Ghana who is British and then has worked over here. He played Martin Luther King in the film Selma. Wonderful, wonderful man, just brilliant. And he said the way to overcome prejudice is through excellence. You overcome that ugly prejudice through excellence. And I was telling her that's the way to do it. And you think about it, we can pass laws all we want. It's not going to change people's attitude. We can try this, and yeah, I'm for it. I think we need to do that. But if you can say, I'm going to be so good that it's incredibly profound. I wrote a whole post on this just a little while ago. And I want you to think about that. You are now able to get ahead if you can become so good that they go, whoa, I guess we got to listen to her. She's real good. Or we got to listen to him. Because there's all kinds of glass ceilings out there. We call it the glass ceiling that's keeping women out. And it's a terrible thing. Actually, we are getting ahead more and more, not only in the United States, but in other countries, when we tap into the tremendous genius brain power that is there with so many women. And the particular traits that I know I'm painting with a broad brush here that women have, where they have more empathy, a little bit more caring, sometimes more of a social group than men. And again, I'm painting with a very broad brush, but we see certain traits that are predominant. We do better when we can tap into the best of others. That's where integration and diversity really sparkle. When we can get the best of these people here and the best of these and the best of these and blend those elements together, that's where we do well. And when we can get rid of the way we get rid of prejudice, we get rid of that is by showing people how good you are and how excellent you can be. That is the key. So to my friend who I was talking to earlier this morning, not mentioning her name specifically because I want to keep it confidence what she was talking about, but you know who you are. And I just applaud you enormously for what you're doing. Go for it. Do those, try those things that I mentioned. I mentioned to her sending her message out through blog posts. Do a bunch of blog posts. Even do one today. Not wait until tomorrow. Do it today. And then record some video. Put the video with it and put that on your website. That gives you a way to get something out there. Now you refine it and you keep modifying as you go until you get working it right. Much like what I'm doing here. You know, I sent out the video and it didn't work, I think 2 or 3 times. And I really appreciate those of you that were watching that were so kind going, Terry, you're on live and you don't know it right now. And so that's okay. I'm using Blue Jeans, which ties into Facebook Live. Again, this is what I'm doing. And it gives you some real advantages because one of the things you can do with it, matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do is I want to share my screen with you and show you something that I pulled up here. Here's the Blue Jeans thing. And over here, there we go. A Harvard professor on 5 questions to ask when facing tough decisions. Now, this was carried in the Washington Post. It was on leadership and had some information there, but this is really good. I saw this, I go, I recognize him. This is a Harvard prof, and his name is Joseph Badaracco. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And Joseph Badaracco is a guy that has some real good ideas here on making a decision. But you see, this guy looked familiar because I thought, I've seen him before. And sure enough, we had. I checked with Gina on it. Gina, being a Harvard grad, HBS grad, Harvard Business School, we went up there and visited. They allow you to do that. And so we were there, and I got a chance to sit in on this guy. This man right here, Professor, if you're watching sometime in the future, hello, you did a fabulous job there. It was very difficult for me, though, because I wanted to jump right into the discussion. You made it that good, and I wanted to jump into it and get involved. But I realized there were 90 other folks there that were paying, I think it's like $100 bazillion a year. That might be the accurate number for attending a Harvard Business School and getting an MBA. But they were paying that, and he was magnificent. And I say this to say, this person here, again, his name is Joseph Badaracco. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, at Harvard Business School. And he was showing how to interact with people, what to do. And so my point to you is find out what this Harvard professor and what others are doing, how you can learn to present your ideas even better. Think about it. If you were challenged to present to 90 Harvard MBA students, all of whom by default, they're pretty smart. They got to have achieved some success, and they've done a lot. And now you're coming in as the professor. You got to challenge them. You got to make them do it. And he was doing, he would walk up to people and say, well, what do you think about this? And then he'd turn over here. Well, what do you think about what she just said? And was able to pull the best of the best from people. And then he would say, okay, I'm on the phone to you right now. What would you say? Da, 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 da. How come you're doing this? That, and the people would have to respond live. I thought that the way he produced it was just a consummate professional. And I encourage all of you to do it. And by the way, that's part of getting very good at what you do. And as you get good at what you do, then you're better and you overcome that prejudice. The prejudice is going to be out there. I've had a little bit of travel around the world. I've been to about 37 countries so far, and many people have been to a lot more. But I've seen other cultures, and I've found a terrible thing called prejudice that exists in many countries around the world. They don't do it like in the United States. We had black versus white, and then there was white versus the American natives, the Indians, and many other ways, and then all kinds of ways that people will be prejudiced against another group, even those from this side of the tracks versus that side of the tracks. Whatever it is, wherever in the world, the way you overcome it is you get really good at something that is specific. How do you do that? Well, you want to become what Cal Newport talked about in his book with the same title, So Good They Can't Ignore You. So good they can't ignore you. And that's a quote from Steve Martin, the comedian. And I just really have to put an exclamation mark, several of them, behind that you can do better in spite of how many rocks they're going to throw at you, the names they're going to call you, the way people will look down on you. You have a hope. And that is you find the areas where you're particularly good. Think back there to Joseph Badaracco, the professor at Harvard. He has to be really good, and he is. He's there, and he becomes really, really proficient in words, in connecting with people, in persuasion. That's what you want to do. Get really, really good at that. And by the way, a good way for you to do that is to read. Reading a lot. Boy, here's something that I highly recommend, particularly today. I think today we are not reading enough books, not just reading quick Facebook or Twitter posts that are out there. There's a lot of tweets out, and those are good, and there's a lot of television and stuff, but I find that the best of the best often are reading a lot of books. Reading at least a book a week is the minimum that many successful people set. I like to read even more. Matter of fact, let me give you a little helpful tip right now. Something that I find that really helps me is called BookBub. Here, matter of fact, hang on a minute. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to write it down right now. This is a free service you can get, and I don't get any financial compensation for it, but it is something that will be real good. Here, use my fancy schmancy way of doing this. BookBub, That is a service you can subscribe to. Go out there and Google it or Bing it with B-I-N-G, Bing, or DuckDuckGo. That's a nice little search engine as well. DuckDuckGo, and go to BookBub. Every day they give me like 3 to 4 books that are really good books that have been vetted by some really smart people, and they're on incredible sales for like 99 cents, $1.99. Some of the real expensive ones might be $2 or $3.99. And you think, $3.99, $4, I get an incredibly good book that has been approved as very good by many people, giving it a thumbs up, a great evaluation, etc. So again, go back, write that down. Look up BookBub, and you want to get that service that gives you the ability to get those and buy them. So I'm finding I'm buying like 2 to 3, maybe 4 on average, most every week. Not every week, but quite often. And then I put them here. I'm showing you all my stuff here. I put them on my iPad. So on my iPad here, I'll have it in there. This is the iPad with the keyboard here. Separate this. And I put it on here and read it with the Kindle from Amazon, the Amazon Kindle. And now as I travel around the world, I've always got the opportunity to tap into some of the best brain power anywhere. Those of you that travel, you know what I'm talking about when I say there's delays. There's all kinds of whoops that happens when you're out there. Well, when an whoops happens, or a delay, or you're in a hotel room and don't know what to do, have a bunch of books available. I've got hundreds of them that are on my Kindle, and I just love Amazon Kindle. So I can tie into that. Another thing that will benefit you by having those books is when you run into a situation where you think, that reminds me of a book or something I read. You've got it on your Kindle. You can go there and get it. So look into the BookBub service that gives you really good books at a really low price, and start saturating your mind with that. And by the way, speaking of books, I want to share my screen here again and go back and look at something else that's here from Kindle. Here's a book that I highly, highly recommend. Write this one down. It's from Tim Ferriss. He's the guy that wrote The 4-Hour Workweek, The 4-Hour Body, The 4-Hour Chef. I've read all of those books, and now reading Tools of Titans. Really, really good book, and what he puts in there is just phenomenal. It is a series of interviews that he had, and excerpts from the interviews that he had on his podcast. These give you the ability to tie into the brain power of some genius people. Matter of fact, as we go through this here, I've got several that are available. Let me click through a couple of pages here, and I can show you. I'm going real fast through this right now. But look at all those people that he interviewed here. Let's go back over this right here. Notice the people that he put in there. You might recognize some of these names. And people there: Jack Dorsey, Stephen Dubner, Dan Engel, Jim Fadiman, John Favreau, Jamie Foxx, all these people, and he gets some of the best of the best. Here, Damon John, God, I love his stuff. Really, really good information that Damon John has. And you can go through this, and he's giving you the best of what they had. Matter of fact, here, let me just click on this and see if I can move through a couple of these here. You can see where I put some yellow highlights in different places, right about here. There we go, right there. And this is Richard Branson. Hang on, let me come back here to the start. Or Derek Sivers. And you talk about Derek Sivers, another genius who is just a mind in the stratosphere kind of guy, but also a really nice guy. I remember I listened to him on James Altucher's podcast, and he said, send me a note and I'll respond back. And you know what? He did. He really did. It was very kind of him. But he's read and reviewed and ranked over 200 plus books at sivers.org. And there's the thing with the books again. Reading books really, really helps you a lot there. And then he said, I might need to do a second volume. My next book, 100% dedicated to the knowledge bombs of Derek Sivers. So much good stuff, had to cut. Yep, you're getting into good with that. But this whole thing is in the book here. Let me go back here to the cover of this. This is the book, Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. A great book. And what I want to do is to encourage you to take time to read good quality books. Classics are good. Books that are rated highly by others. Books that you hear people say, hey, I read that one and it's really good. That's what you want to do. I find that by reading books, you actually shorten the learning curve and the time that it takes for you to get ahead. Think about it. If you go out there and try to do everything just on your own, from your own experience, you're going to get beaten up. You're going to get real bloody. You're going to get bruised. It's going to be tough. But if you can sit down and go through a book, a book that someone has taken the time, the money, and the energy to go over and to distill their thoughts into a given perspective so they can share it with you. That is what really matters. So those books, and this one particularly, can be really, really helpful. I would encourage you to look into that and see what's available. So anyway, we're going through this right now and getting a chance to see what's available here with different books and other options that are available. Again, I'm using the technology right now called Blue Jeans, which ties into Facebook Live. It gives you the ability to share your screen as well as bring other people on the screen. With Blue Jeans, they let you bring in up to, I think it's 25 people on the screen, which I wouldn't recommend. You got 25 people, everyone's talking over each other. It'd be too confusing. Or as the Japanese would say, too much mind. Too much mind when you got that many on there. But think about, and those of you that are professional speakers, those of you that are authors, coaches, thought leaders in some way, think about how you could bring on one or two, maybe three. I wouldn't want to do much more than that. Other people that would be on the screen, and you could ask questions. You could talk to them. You get their opinion on a particular subject. Find out what is going on there. And another thing I want to do is I want to make a special offer to you by having you drop me a note. Let me know what you think here. Terry@terrybrock.com. There's my email address. And I want to get in touch with you. Matter of fact, if you've got some challenges you're going through right now, one thing that I'm doing right now is opening up some special coaching sessions for people. I'm working on a new product and I want to get feedback. A good way to get really good feedback is from people who are willing to say, hey, I can part with a few coins. Here's some money. I'm going to put in my time and energy and get help to real world problems. If you need help on using some video, social media, marketing ideas, or maybe just kind of putting your head on the right way and you want to get a different perspective, let me know on that. Drop me a note and we've got a special rate on that. I'll tell you all about it when you send me an email. Terry@terrybrock.com. Again, there's the email address. Let me know on that, and I will look forward to hearing from you. So also, let me know what you think. I'm looking forward to your comments. One of the disadvantages of this, I cannot see your comments right now. They're not coming through. I don't see them on the screen, but I know they are there. And I will go back and I can respond to them later. And those of you that are watching this after it's live, so you're watching a recording of it, I want you to go ahead and leave a comment anyway, because like I do with my broadcasts, I like to monitor them for 24 to 48 hours afterwards and make sure that I respond to you. Even though we wouldn't be live then, it'll be on recording. Let me know, and I will look forward to hearing from you. So you have a wonderful day today, and I will look forward to talking with you a little bit later. Somehow, some way, drop me a note, and if you'd like to take advantage of the coaching opportunities I have at really reduced rates, because I want to collect some information, and I want to help you as well. I'll look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for joining me today.